What Martha was doing was not wrong. After all, she was preparing lunch or dinner for the chief guest.
Quite a natural.
Chief guest. Otherwise, he has to go fasting. So she was doing something very legitimate. And she wanted to arrange the house and everything. But this Mary, she must have thought, why do it now when the master, the teacher has come, Rabboni has come? So that's not the time to be doing it. Let's sit at his feet and learn. So important versus necessary. Not right versus wrong. Isn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense. Important versus necessity. I mean, Jesus could have sent his disciples to buy food. Jesus would have himself handled it.
So if Jesus would have gone after some intimation, or even after he has gone there without intimation, after having all this Bible study and everything, they could have sat for their meals or whatever.
Yeah.
After all, those days they were not so strict about that meal timings.
Yeah.
And Jesus definitely not strict about meal timings. I mean, it is just an example. Jesus never came to India, but he said, it's finished. What's finished? But he said, Father, the work that you gave me, I finished. Each of us is given some particular assignment. We should not do everything.
Do what is necessary.
What's really necessary. This is where preachers experience burnout too soon.
Because they take everything as important. But it's a thin line.
Very thin line. But did not Jesus say it's finished?
He said,
Father, the work you gave, I put the stress there. The work you gave me to do, I finished. Isn't it?
Yes. Each one has that as the assignment.
You go beyond that, spreading too thin, and you burn yourself. And you make others' lives also miserable.
In fact, it then becomes to what you said, vision plus vision is division.
You go like that, off tangent.
We mess it up. Instead of adding, we mess it up.
And I am known for quick judgment. I am not perfect, but I am a perfectionist. A perfectionist always finds fault. I have been a proofreader from 1963. The first thing that will fall on my ace is the mistake. So the worst sufferer is my wife. I have been proofreading her. In everything I'll find fault. If somebody gives me a wedding card, I will, instead of seeing the timing and all that, I would look at what mistakes they have committed. It will be a large size mistake, it will just appear to me. But one day God corrected me in Chennai. I went to stay in that YMCA guest house, YWCA guest house, that main road. That lady who was at the counter had a very uncouth hair. I thought it was some stylish thing that she has left like that without even combing properly. So I thought I judged her in my heart. After some time, when we came there to check out or something, we asked her name. She said so and so. She didn't have fingers because of leprosy. She has lost several of her fingers. So she herself voluntarily said, without us asking, I am healed, no more contagious thing. But I have difficulty, I can't even comb my hair properly. Instead of saying I was broken, I was shattered. How quickly I have judged her. I think that was when the Lord spoke loudest to me on the sin of quick judgment of people. So many other examples, but this was the loudest thing. That's why I'm still able to say where that reception at the YWCA guest house. So this is something which I have been learning to be careful about. Let me judge myself. If we judge ourselves, we will not be judged. Who are you to judge another? And I also have learned that people are more important than paperwork. In administration, this is a big trap for administrative leaders. For us, work becomes more important than the worker, which is wrong. If there is one single message God would have me to talk to all the leaders of Christian ministries, I would tell them, worker is more important than work. Keep the worker happy and healthy, your work will be healthy. But we sacrifice the workers on the altar of work. I think this I learned little late in life. Not after 33 years, not after retirement, but maybe first 5-10 years I learned this lesson. You know, in the initial enthusiasm, you are always a go-getter.
To drive it.
Yeah, you get it done. You don't think about what he will do and whether he had his food or nothing of that sort. You get the job done. So this is a correction which I had to go through. And today's world is also becoming very impersonal because of computerization. Isn't it?
Yes.
We don't see people as people. We see people as walking trees.
In fact, it's gone to a level where people are comfortable texting rather than talking.
No. Everything is gone. In such an impersonal world, we Christians and we Christian leaders should try to and tend to become more and more personal and compassionate. Then one of my outstanding messages over the years has been charity. Christianity is charity. I wrote an article. Some theologians questioned me, how can you say that? I said, I didn't say charity is Christianity. I said Christianity is charity. You talk about repentance, what shall I do? People asked John, who was preaching the baptism of repentance. 2 shirts, give one to the one who has none. You have 2 supper packets, give one to the one who has none. So charity begins at repentance. Prayer, go to Prophet Isaiah. What will he say? You lift up your hands, you make many prayers, I won't hear because your hands are full of blood. Hands are full of blood? Yes. You look up to the widows, feed the poor. You want to go to missionary work? Paul and Barnabas, God has called us wider ministry from a small Antioch setup. Peter, James and John gave them the right hand of fellowship. Okay, you go to the Gentiles, but remember the poor. Missionary work, remember the poor. Because that is something which you tend to forget easily.
We always see missionary work as something that we are sacrificing to go. But the essence of that is also God telling us, remember the poor.
Remember the poor. Unfortunate. Those who have not heard, those who have not been taken care of, unfed, underfed. So I strongly believe William Booth's philosophy, soap salvation. People may mock at it, doesn't matter. I must put on a good shirt when I go and listen to a message. If I don't have food, if my stomach is empty, how long will I be listening to a sermon? Huh? We have eating before meeting, and we have eating after meeting also. And we are talking that soup and salvation is wrong. It is not soup and stop. It is soup and salvation. Isn't it?
These are practical. It's a practical approach.
This is practical. What's the use of saying, brother, you have no food, you have no dress, don't worry, I'll be praying for you, God bless you, shalom. James says, this is sheer nonsense, this is faith without works. You give him what he needs. So, one of my proofreaders, I have a team of proofreaders, about a dozen of them, very scrupulous proofreaders who have trained over the years with me, all volunteers. Some of them, they tell me, Anand, uncle, all your writing, somewhere that thread of charity comes. And I tell them, yes, I worship a God of the poor. He's named God of the poor. You know, we have spiritualized this Messianic manifesto also. Huh? By captives, we spiritualize it, spiritual deliverance. He has the anointing to preach the gospel poor. We say, poor in the spirit. Messianic manifesto, everything is all charity. Acceptable year of the Lord is the year of release, Jubilee year. Release. So this charity is dominating my thinking. Every page I am able to see a God of the poor.
But at the same time, Abraham was a very rich man, and God doesn't mean that God doesn't like the rich person.
That is not the point. When you have more riches, you give more.
More. That's what is the driven part.
Yes. Those who are rich, Paul told Timothy, command those who are rich to be rich in good works also.
No, I'm just driving the point that God is not.
He's not against prosperity.
Exactly. That's
No.
precisely.
People in prosperity must bless those who are in poverty.
Right. And which means there's more responsibility when you are prosperous.
Yes, yes.
Prosperity comes with responsibility.
Yeah, God has given you more in order that you can give more.
I'm just trying to.
Yes, correctly.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's
Yes.
very correct. That's a biblical teaching. And over the years, I never went after the rich. We're in our meetings. I don't offer them front seats. Let them come and sit where they want. And if somebody gives 10 rupees and somebody gives 10 lakhs, I don't go after them. People know that. One person told me in one city, an outstanding man in that city, very powerful man, you know what he said? Brother, you are different. I said, what? You come and sometimes you are here in the city, you don't even bother to say hello to me. That's your style, brother. Because, brother, I have found poor people are more trustworthy than rich people. I have seen in my life. Sorry to say that, but they are more reliable. In Tamil, they used to say, sorry, but this is what I have consistently observed.
There's a lot of truth in what you're saying.
I consistently observed. But there are exceptions.
Yes.
In everything there are exceptions. These are not absolute things.
Yes.
But there are. But in general, they are more reliable. They are more simple, more honest, more sincere. And as a doctrinal preacher, I have to maintain a slogan, no offense, no defense.
Why do you say no offense, no defense?
I don't want to personally attack anybody. If there is a correction, I would like to keep that correction objective. I'm not against anybody, but I am against false doctrine. I have no preacher enemy. My only enemy is Satan. So, several people's doctrine, when they are just floating in the air and they're becoming very popular, I attack the doctrine.
Not the person, yeah.
Never do. It's not right. I should not say, oh, Paul did so and this and that. I'm not Paul. That was an exception. See, where there is some convenience, I just go under Paul's cloak. That is wrong. Mm-hmm. So I normally, and I also don't do any defense.
Yeah, it's also an alarming trend where, especially with social media culture, where people take this and attack and slander. I mean, I really wonder the risk involved in that, meaning when they use public platform to personally attack, then that's not what God has called us for.
It's self-betrayal. Self-betrayal. You think you're doing a service.
Exactly.
You are not. You are giving them enough of food for their consumption. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
And several people have gone away from Blessing Youth Mission during my leadership, those years. Several people means maybe about half a dozen.
Right.
And they all have become big ministers. No one is against me. They continue to be my friends.
Right.
No defector is my enemy or anything. They are my friends. This is one question once Father Berkman asked me. He was staying with us. Anand, I want to ask a question. He said, yes, come on, tell me what it is. So many people have gone away from you and started ministries, but no one speaks against you. They love you, they like you. But a few people who have gone away from me, they keep scolding me. I said, I don't know that reason. But here, when people met me, there was no personal enmity, no personality clash. It was a vision difference or some that is okay. Paul and Barnabas can always be separated. There's nothing wrong. But they never became enemies. If they had become enemies, Paul would not refer to John Mark and Barnabas in his later epistles.
That is one side. The other side is we miss the point of collaboration.
It's gone. It's gone. Already we are weak. When in a sense we are very weak.
Yeah.
So the final thing I would say is, I never say I held on tightly to God. No, I am not holding him tight. He is holding me tight. He only has said, I will not leave you nor forsake you. Can I say that to him? No. I can sing no turning back and all that by the baptismal font. But his hold on me is, his grip is stronger on me than my holding on to his hand. So he who has begun a good work in me shall complete it until the day of Christ. That's it.
It was a pleasure talking to you, and I think this book on Moses to Joshua is so much depth. There's so much deeper insights from your life, which I have learned. And also, I should say that this word revival is so understood and also misunderstood.
It is.
And so I'm so grateful to God that God has given us this privilege of understanding the foundation well. And I'm really thanking God for this series, Moses to Joshua. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for all what you said. More importantly, we are just grateful to God for have given such rich experience of walking with Him. And I consider this program as a platform where people can take, receive, reflect, run, and accomplish the calling which God has given to them. Yes. Like how God called Moses and Joshua, God has called each one.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for taking your time. It's a pleasure talking to you.